Hi, guys. Thank you for tuning into this presentation on cost sharing and sponsorships for small businesses. My name is Champagne Graves, and I am the CEO of Bold Babes Companies. I started this business with only $20 back in July of 2018. And Bold Babes Co. is now a marketing and education firm that focuses on launching and scaling female founded digital brands. But back then, we were a t shirt line that empowered women owned businesses. So, kind of similar, but different. But even back then, I had a very large passion for empowering female founded businesses in some kind of way. And I just knew that I was meant to do that kind of work and focus on those kinds of businesses through my own business. And so I want to kind of walk you guys through how I was able to start with that initial $20, because $20 is literally nothing. That will maybe pay for a boosted post, maybe. So when we started with the t-shirts, I knew that I needed about $2,500 to create a marketing and branding campaign for the t-shirts, including a branded commercial. And so I was able to partner up with a local media company that was female founded here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And they were able to produce this commercial for us because they were just so excited about the vision that I had created when I pitched the commercial to them. So I had this vision of creating a commercial that included women of all shapes and sizes and women that actually had their own businesses and showcasing them, showcasing their stories. And I just was able to really excite this other brand with my vision. And they were kind enough to give me the commercial at no cost, produce it for us at no cost. And so that's how we were able to get that done for free. Now, I had a commercial and I had kind of no way to present it to the world. And so it was actually the media company that suggested to us that we host a launch party for Bold Babes and premiere this commercial, right? And so again, I was faced with the question of how am I going to pay for this? And so I came up with a plan of hosting a launch party that would not only premiere Bold Babes commercial and the t-shirts that we were producing, but would actually bring the brand mission to life and host other women-owned businesses at the event as well. And so I was able to reach out to brands that were in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, as well as served in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, let them know the mission of empowering women. And they were just on board because of the pitch formula that I am going to share with all of you later on in this presentation. So I am really excited to get started because I know what sponsorships and cost sharing has done for my business. And I want to share the wealth of knowledge with other startups that are looking to figure out a way to grow, even though they don't have any cash on hand. So let's get started. So cost sharing and sponsorship saved us over $48,000 in 2019 alone. And it has allowed us to work with marquee brands like Nothing But Cakes, Raising Cane's, and High Brew Coffee. Now, if you look at the corner of the screen, you can see a picture of me in the very little corner. You see me in my pink dress. I'm hosting a sponsored event in Plano, Texas, which is a city in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we hosted an event at Neighborhood Goods. At this event, we yet again brought women in business together and millennial women that were looking to grow and connect with one another. And Neighborhood Goods just so happened to have launched a new community program in which they were trying to get new people inside of their space to walk the space, as well as try out their new restaurant, Prim and Proper. And so I was able to host a networking happy hour at Prim and Proper, and it was just so fun. Over 50 women attended this event. We had a live performance there. We had lots of networking. Speed networking was so cool. And both of the brands got so much benefit from me hosting this event and coming up with the partnership plan. So let's talk about the difference between cost sharing and sponsorship. So cost sharing is the sharing of costs on a project which serves the mutual benefit of two or more parties. So how this looks in business is maybe it's a group of companies in realty that are sharing the cost of a home buying directory website. Now, these businesses could host this website individually, but maybe it's too expensive for each of them to carry on their own. And so it is beneficial for all of them to come together and share the cost of this website. And that is a really great example of what cost sharing looks like in business. Then we have sponsorship, and sponsorship's a little bit different. It's a business partnership which typically involves one party paying the upfront costs in exchange for deliverables from the proposed project. Now, how this may look in business is it may be a community group hosting an event. And if you're hosting an event, especially in Texas, you understand that people get hungry. And so what you may do is, in order to save on the cost of food, you may approach a catering company and say, hey, if you comp this event for us, we will give you access to our email list from this event. Now, if you know that your event can pull about 50 people and this catering company is paying about $5 a lead, then it makes sense for them to comp the cost of this event because they're paying about the same amount for all of these leads to a marketing firm anyways. So these are the kind of questions that you need to be asking yourself when you're thinking about what parts of my project can be funded by other businesses. Is it of benefit to those businesses for them to cover this cost in exchange for access to the deliverables that I'm going to be receiving from this event, from this project, from this whatever. So we are talking about how to spot the perfect business partner because this is where everything is going to start. You're going to do the bulk of your research here, and I want you to spend a lot of time on this part because it's going to help you out with every other step in this process. So whether you're choosing a cost sharing or sponsorship model for your project, in order to create a successful partnership, you need to start with the right partner. So being able to accurately identify the strengths and the weaknesses of both brands is going to be really vital in making sure that this project is going to be successful overall for all parties. So we're going to start with looking at the social impact of both brands. So what is your brand's current social impact? And when I say social impact, I mean, how are you impacting your market? So whether that's you're reaching them on social media, you're reaching out via word of mouth, you're reaching out, in what way are you making an impact on the market that you're trying to serve? And then also you need to look at the proposed partner's social impact. So how are they reaching the market? How are they talking to the market that you both may serve if you both serve the same market? Then we're going to look at market position. So if you guys are in the same market, for example, I am in the education market. And so if I am in the education market and I want to partner with propose a school, perhaps, right? We're both kind of in that same demographic, but I serve in a different way because I am one person creating education content as opposed to an institution that's creating a plethora of different kinds of education content. So that's going to be really important for you to understand, especially when you get into things like making the pitch and figuring out the roles of each brand. And then you're going to look at things like your unique identifiers. So how are you unique in the market and how are they unique in the market? So the way that Bold Babes is unique is that we are a women-owned brand that's serving women-owned brands. And so that is really unique because women-owned businesses is a unique identifier in a market. Now, we are in the overall market of business to business, but within that business to business market, we're only serving women-owned businesses, or primarily serving women-owned businesses rather. And so we understand that that's our unique identifier. And so we take that understanding into any of the pitches that we bring to a proposed, inside of a proposed project. And then we're going to look at the unique identifiers of the proposed brand that we're wanting to work with. So how are they uniquely serving the market, whether it's through their branding, through their customer experience, through their actual product? You need to have a really clear understanding of those kinds of things, because it's going to be really important when you are talking to this proposed brand and trying to pitch them on this project. So after we figured out the partner, let's figure out the partnership. So when proposing a partnership between your brand and another, it's important to answer the following questions. What is your brand's current impact and how can the proposed brand increase it? So again, understanding the social impact, like we were researching in the beginning, is going to be important now, because we need to understand, like, how is partnering up with this other business going to increase my followers, increase my email list, increase the way that I am able to impact the market. So we are a small business. And when we are partnering up with other businesses, we tend to partner up with medium-sized businesses to corporations, because they have the kind of impact that we just don't have access to right now as a small business. They have more funding, they have more people, and that gives them access to a larger portion of the market than we do. But as a small business, we have a more intimate experience with the market when we are impacting them. So our social media, we may be able to answer DMs, and this larger corporation may not be able to have that capability. We may be able to hop on a one-to-one call with our clients, and that may not be a part of their process. We may be able to meet with people in events and things like that, in more intimate events, and that may not be something that they're able to do as a larger business, because it may not be feasible or just whatever. So because we understand those kinds of things, we're able to take that angle and say, hey, as a small business, we have this kind of intimate experience with the market that we both serve. And this is how partnering up with us is going to help you. It's going to help give you that intimate experience with the market. So moving on, we're going to also ask if both brands serve the same client, like we talked about, what are the similarities and the differences, and how is the project going to benefit both? Okay, so like I said in the previous example, the similarities between myself and a school is that we both produce education content, but the difference is that I'm one person producing at one person, or with a smaller group of collaborators producing education content, as opposed to a large institution which has professors on staff to create content at a more consistent level and on a much larger level. Okay, and if I'm proposing a project, maybe this larger institution wants access to my specific kind of content because it is done well in a market that they're trying to get into. So because I primarily work with online businesses, maybe this institution hasn't done really well with, reaching that demographic yet. And they may want to get access to me because I have already had and seen success with producing education content for online businesses. So that is kind of an example of the similarities and differences between different brands and how a project can benefit both. And then we're going to ask, how long will the partnership last and what's the role of each brand? Obviously, that's going to be really important to understand as the project is actually getting going, because when you're in the weeds and the thick of things, you understand who's responsible for what. And then we're going to talk about the actual proposed project, and has that proposed brand partner done something similar in the past? If they have done something similar in the past, what were the takeaways that you've seen, and how do you feel like you can do it differently and better? Now we're going to move on to the good stuff, making the pitch. So making the pitch starts with finding the right platform to reach out to your proposed partner. So I've seen success with reaching out on all of the following platforms, starting with social media. Social media is something that is really great because it gives you access to almost anybody, because everyone has social media platforms now, and it gives you that access in like that intimate way via direct messages, and it allows you to reach brands that may have been less accessible before social media was a thing. The platform that I typically like to use is LinkedIn. I also see some success on Instagram, but LinkedIn is really great because it allows you to get straight to the decision makers. And so if you're able to find the marketing director of the brand that you're wanting to work with, it may be more beneficial to reach out to them directly on LinkedIn, as opposed to maybe going through the whole process of finding the general marketing line and proposing it there, and then from there hoping that it sticks and lands with somebody who is in charge of making decisions. So finding the decision makers on social media is really important, and it's a really great way to kind of eliminate some steps in getting and securing that partnership. Another great way that I have secured partnerships is via phone call. I'll give you an example of when we were working with Nothing Bundt Cakes. I was able to find the direct line of their marketing department on their website, and I was able to reach their marketing director. Lucky enough, that was the person that picked up the phone call right as they were actually heading out for the day. And so I was able to talk to the marketing director, let them know that I was launching my brand, and it benefited and highlighted women-owned businesses. And I also knew that Nothing Bundt Cakes was a woman owned, female founded brand. And so I was able to kind of angle that in my initial pitch and really have a successful phone call with that marketing director and go ahead and I went ahead and secured the partnership right then and there. Another great and the most traditional way to reach out is via email. A great way to do this is figuring out the website of the proposed brand, figuring out like their general email line. And if they have a marketing department, I would suggest reaching out to their marketing department if that information is available on their website, and going ahead and reaching out with a general template. But when you do reach out with the template, make sure that you are making your email unique to the brand that you are reaching out to. So it is okay to create a template for these things. And I would suggest to reach out to more than one brand, but within that, you're making each of those emails sound as if you are only have created that email for their business specifically. And then last but definitely not least is a one-to-one meeting. Now, this is definitely the most successful way that I've been able to secure partnerships. And that's just because when people meet me on a one-to-one basis, they see how passionate I am and they're just willing and ready to work with me in any kind of way because they see that I am so passionate about my work. I'm willing to put in the sweat equity, and they feel secure in knowing that I am the person leading the project. So now we're going to talk about the actual pitch formula. So this is super important. Feel free to take some notes, okay? So these are the kind of things that I go through when I'm making all of my pitches. I'm going to start out with outlining common goals between our brands. Now, this is why it was so important to do all of that research up front, because you're going to really let this business know that I've been doing my homework and I know about you and I know your brand mission. And here is how this project, my business, my brand, my mission matches up to yours. And so just letting them know that, hey, we have common goals. And here's how this project is going to help us reach both of our common goals. Then we're going to be looking at the strengths and weaknesses of each of the brands. And how is this project going to balance those out and allow each other to shine and complement, right? So if I have a weakness, and my weakness is that we're a small business, we don't have the impact that a medium-sized business or a corporation does. When I'm proposing a project between a medium-sized business or a corporation, I'm letting them know, hey, you guys have access to a larger portion of the market, but we as a small business have a more intimate experience with the market. So if we are able to partner up on this proposed project, typically for us, what that looks like is an event. If we're able to partner up, then what you will get is an intimate experience with the demographic that we both reach. And so what we're able to do is reach a larger portion of the market. What they're able to do is to create a different kind of experience for the market that they have been reaching that may be different and something that their market is kind of wanting out of them. Then we're moving on to outlining the timeline and proposed role of each brand in the project. Now, again, this is something that needs to be done up front so that when you are pitching, people are feeling secure and that you know exactly what you're trying to do and there's a plan in place so that they understand they don't have to do a ton of heavy lifting with figuring those kinds of things out. This also helps establish that you're a professional person and you are a great project leader and you're knowing what you're doing with this thing. And finally, don't forget to end with some flattery to seal the deal. If the proposed brand that you're trying to partner up with has recently experienced some wins, they've won an award, they've been able to reach a larger part of the market, something that's going to let this business know, again, I've been doing my research on you. I know that we would be great for this partnership, and here are the reasons why. And I just admire your brand. I just admire what you're doing no matter what. And if it doesn't work out now, then hopefully it'll work out in the future, because we do have these common goals in place. And last but definitely not least, you need to have a great follow-up plan in place. So after you've convinced your partner to work with you, it's vital that you have the following elements to create an easy experience for all parties involved in the project. So you need to start off with a contract that outlines all of the parties' responsibilities. So this is going to be really, really important, because it's just going to let everyone know when we're in the thick of things that, like, here's what we agreed upon in the beginning, and here's what we need to stick to. Again, going over the timeline of the project. So here are the deadlines. Here's when XYZ needs to be delivered, and here's who's going to be delivering them. There also needs to be a clear communication channel set into place. So whether that's email, that's Slack, or whatever, it needs to be clear what the communication channel is. Even if it's a situation in which you're doing all of the work and they're just paying for the upfront costs, they still need to have a way to reach out to you to understand when things are being done, and to just check up on the status of stuff. And then last but not least, there needs to be an absolute understanding of how profits, leads, and content is going to be distributed between the parties. So that obviously needs to be outlined in the contract, but throughout the duration of the project, there needs to be an understanding the content that is going to be produced at the event. For example, if there is media on site, there needs to be directives to that media to get content that benefits both your brand as well as their brand. So that's a really clear example of understanding that, hey, we're both splitting this content, and that's one of the deliverables that I am giving to the other brand in exchange for paying for the upfront costs. So that's just an example of how that may look in an actual partnership in business. And so that's it. I am so excited that I was able to do this with you guys. I hope that you were able to take away some value from this. And I really, really hope that this is beneficial for your business. You're able to take these techniques and run and start working on a cost sharing or a sponsorship model for your next project, because there are businesses out there that have the funds that are willing to partner up with your brand. And you just have to have a clear understanding of the benefits of your business now and how that can benefit another business as well. So I really encourage you to reach out to me on LinkedIn. It is a way that I connect with people. Please don't be afraid to shoot me a DM as well. I love connecting with people in the DMs, and then also taking one-to-one meetings. Collaboration meetings are one of my favorites, and I love hosting those all the time, because it gives me a chance to connect with people and figure out what's going on with them in their businesses, because I am in the business of business. And also, I encourage you to reach out to me on my website, champagnegraves.com, and that kind of maps out all of my marketing work and my work as a strategist. And then last but not least, obviously visit us at boldbabes.co. There you can explore all of the businesses that we have in place that help you start and stay in business. So whether you are a female founded digital brand or you are a local business here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I am sure that we have a product or service that can help you launch or grow. And so thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you have an amazing day.